All right, we are live, and I can already tell there's an 8-second delay because on my phone it was still counting down from 8 seconds when I went live. So super excited to be here with you guys. As you guys may or may not know, I don't even know if you know who either of us are. You probably should by now. This is Tanya. She is the Queen of Content and Team JG head coach. And if you guys do not know me, I am Jason Goldberg. I'm an amateur avocado enthusiast. And I prove that because I have it here. This is a good one, T. I can feel it. It's such a spiritual experience for me because like my thumb, like I press into it and I'm like, this is gonna be good in 2 hours. Like I can feel it. Are you? How are you as an avocado picker?
I've gotten so much better at it. So my partner and I, one of the things that we're very aware of and working on is like not spoiling food, like not letting food go to waste. And we have historically been people who like will buy like the 4-pack of avocados and then like 2 of them maybe won't ever make it to anybody's stomach. But we've gotten really good now. We have the system of like when I'm picking the 4-pack of avocados, because I do the grocery shopping, you start with, you want 1 to be ready. You want 1 to be almost ready. That one goes in the fridge. And you want 2 to be like, we need counter time and then fridge time.
I renounce my amateur avocado enthusiast title because you are so much more intentional. I am going to learn from you. I think that would be amazing. Want to send some love to the people who are here live. If you're here live, send us some love. Let us know you're here. Issa's in the house. Jock is here. What's going on, Jock? Taz is here in the house. If you're here on the replay, show us some love too. Let us know that you are here so we can come back and show you some love. And T-Money and I posted this earlier in the group today. I call her T-Money, by the way. If I say T-Money, you'll know who I'm talking about. T-Money and I were talking about this, that we always have these conversations because we've been working now for, it's coming up on 3 years now that we've been running.
It's 3 years.
Is it 3 years?
Yeah, it was January 2018, 19, 20, 21. We were already at 3 years, buddy. We're coming on 3 years and 3 months.
No. So no, wait a second. No, it was the beginning of 2018 or beginning of 2019 that we started working together?
2018. I just posted a picture about it, gushing about you. Clearly.
Oh, did you really? Oh,
literally.
Well, I didn't even see that. but I was going to talk about the CPBI that we've been running since May, officially since May of 2018. So that's coming up on 3 years in next month. Next month is our 3-year anniversary. And so we've had over 300 people, I think, now go through that program. And of course, I've worked with, tens of thousands of coaches indirectly with EverCoach and Mind Valley stuff. But we see so much stuff that comes up with our own students and the people we work with. And we have these conversations all the time behind the scenes and, of course, with our students, and wanted to see if there was a way to bring some of those conversations to the rest of you so you could benefit from kind of the things we talk about behind the scenes. Is that kind of in line with what you were hoping to hear, T?
Yeah, totally. I also feel like we do just end up having these like conversations between us. And if you guys could access our Telegram thread, it's just like our thoughts on things. And we were like, we should share these. These are valuable.
Yeah. Sometimes they're like total rants and it's just like this. Yeah, about avocados. Sometimes it's rants about the industry and the things that we just can't stand that we're seeing and that we want to make sure that we try to, show people the truth around, which is why we're doing this whole, common myths. And really, we could probably just do a show every week called Common Myths and come up with limitless numbers of ones. So the ones we're going to cover today are not the only ones. They're just a few that were front of mind. And so we wanted to come in here and do this. So I don't know how often we'll do it yet. We'll see how you guys like it. If you like it, if you get value from it, then that'll be a good sign to let us know that it's something we can keep doing. And then we can go from there. So let's see if you guys want to be in the actual show and have your comments pop up on the screen, which would be great for us so we can see them. Go to the link that's in the description of this video. Facebook requires you to like do another thing. So I have it up on my phone, but it's tough sometimes to go back and forth. So I'd love if you guys could do that. That way I can see in the chat who you are. I can see everybody here in the chat, but it just says Facebook user, and I don't think any of you are named Facebook user, unless maybe somebody's like European and it's Fachabuka User. Maybe that's what it is, but who knows? So anyways, so let's dive into. So one of the things that we want to talk about here, again, or the whole theme of today, is these common misconceptions. We hear things all the time from people, whether it is people before they join the program, people that maybe I'm having direct message conversations with, or Tanya is, or that Brian has had direct messenger conversations with, and then of course all the questions and stuff that we get from our students in the program. And so we want to kind of just take a few of those and kind of dive in and give you guys the real skinny on some of these things that you may be thinking you need to do in your business, and we're trying to help you realize you don't have to. to, you can recapture that time and energy and focus on the things that will actually drive your business going forward. So if that is something you're excited to dive into, drop us a 1 in the comments so we know that you're excited, and we are going to jump in right now. So the first thing we're going to talk about here is we want you to stop focusing on passive income. Passive income is something that Tanya has a lot of feelings about. Yeah, she's already clapping. Tanya has a lot of feelings about passive income. So really quickly, Tanya, I want you to start on this, but for those of you who don't know, who have never heard this term, passive income is typically meant to be make money in your sleep. You do something so that it's revenue and income is on autopilot. And there's something you can do to get to a point where money just comes in an autopilot. And for coaching, that is a major, major myth that we want to dispel. And for each one of these as well, we're going to tell you what to focus on instead. So we're not just going to come here and say, don't do this, peace. We're going to say, don't do this instead. So T, what are your thoughts on passive income?
I hate it. No, it's not. I mean, like, oh, hold on 1 second. This is going to be weird. You guys are going to see my thumb for a second. It's because I love you. Oh,
you don't know that it's your thumb. We can't tell that it's your thumb, by the way.
Oh, it doesn't. You can't tell it's my thumb? I just want to.
It's flesh, but we can't tell what flesh it is.
All right. Well, this isn't working. What I really wanted to do was, there we go. I want to do not disturb this because I don't want anybody interrupting this fun. Okay. My thoughts on passive income. I have so many. I have thoughts on passive income, obviously, like as just a concept on a whole, right? Like, sounds great, but not really. And I'll get into this a bit more. But I think it's just one of those things that, like, we're never actually, it's never actually the thing that we want. And it's just, like, you know, thrown out as this, like, shiny, nice little, like, goalpost that we can work towards. But like, I feel like so many people, when they think about passive income, they think about, like, oh, I just want like money to just be coming in and I can just be, like, sitting on a beach, drinking a Mai Tai, doing whatever. But actually, like, when we think about what lights us up, like, self-actualization is such a big part of it, that, like, if we had all the money in the world and didn't actually have to do anything for it, like, we wouldn't necessarily be happier for it. So as a concept, I have feelings about it. But in relationship to a coaching industry, even more so. And like, part of this came up because I messaged Jason the other day because I happened to see somebody else's ad all about, like, how to turn your coaching business into passive income. And I screenshotted it and I sent it to him. And I was like, these are two paradoxical concepts to me, right? They're like, it's like an oxymoron to me. The idea of having, like, a coaching business and passive income from it, because there's nothing passive about coaching. There's nothing passive about being in communication, in space, holding space, in conversation with another human. There are definitely ways that you can scale it and have elements of it that are passive, but I just think it's very misleading for anybody to be suggesting that you can have 100% passive income on a coaching business. So I just ranted at Jason.
You didn't just, like, send it to me. You were very upset. Didn't you, like, highlight and circle stuff on the image as well before you sent it to me?
Like, this is, what did I say? Oh God, and, like, because we're so big on integrity, right? And I was like, this is unethical. It was my rant.
Yeah, well, and I think it's a really good point, because I think there are a lot of people that are talking about coaching as a passive thing, and there are things we're going to talk about here on what to focus on instead, to make it like you said, scalable. But I think it's really important to recognize what Tanya said. First of all, is that the thought of passive income means money coming in your sleep. Essentially means you don't want to have to put effort in for the thing that you're building. Right. And that's fair. There's a way to build things so there's less effort required. But a coaching business, especially when you're starting, I would not be aiming for anything that seems passive at all, because it's one of the most intimate professions in the world. Why would we focus on being passive in the pursuit of an intimate endeavor? And so that's the first thing. The second thing, though, here about this is that there's actually no such thing as passive income anyways. To me, the real truth about passive income is that if you have anything that resembles passive income, you've just changed your job title, right? So for example, if you have, you could say that you have passive income because you own a franchise of a restaurant or something. Well, no, you've just changed your role from being a restaurant operator to managing a team. You could say that you have a real estate portfolio, and so you have passive income. Yeah, you're not trading your time for money, but you still have to be able to manage the maintenance of the property. Like you switch out one job role for another. So anybody who thinks that passive income means escape from ever having to work, number one, I think most of us would get super bored if we were doing nothing of purpose or significance for too long of a time. I know I totally would. Probably why I don't take a whole lot of time off. And second of all, it just doesn't, passive income where you just make money in your sleep doesn't exist. So if that's the case and there's no such thing as passive income, what should we be focusing on instead? Well, this is where you want to focus on leveraged income instead. Leveraged income. So when we talk about the coaching industry, there is a way to leverage your income, to reach more people, to have a bigger impact, to have a bigger reach, to make more revenue. And those are things like group coaching programs or courses. But I promise you, there is nothing passive about either one of those endeavors. Because if you decide that you're going to go from one-on-one coaching to group stuff, and you say, okay, well, there you go, I have passive income now because I have groups or I have a course, you're forgetting that you still have to create content. You still have to market. You still have to serve and deliver to the people that trust you enough to part with their fun tokens, as my dear friend Sean Stevenson used to say. The people who trust you and put their money and their time and their energy into what you're doing, you have to still deliver and execute on that. The work starts, and this is something Tanya and I have always talked about, especially once we started having Brian doing sales and then Tanya and I really focusing on delivery, was that for us, somebody paying is when the work starts. That's not the end. That's the beginning for us when somebody actually pays us. That's when our work actually begins. So there's a way to leverage that income and serve more people, but it still requires you to get really clear on what you're doing, why you're doing it, why it's important to have that experience of life like Tanya was mentioning. So leveraged income is what we want to focus on. T, what else do you want to add there?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything that you're saying. And I think one of the things that I've seen with our people, and was definitely true with me when I don't think I've ever super daydreamed about passive income, but the idea of just having a course that I would just pop up and then would just be selling itself and there'd be money coming in, it has definitely felt appealing at times. And what I've noticed is that really like what I was saying in the beginning and what you said so well is that it's not that people actually want to just do nothing and have money coming in, right? Oftentimes what's really at the heart of that longing for passive income. Ooh, where did I just go?
Nope, you're
what?
good.
You can do that. Really what's at the heart of that is a desire to have an income that's commensurate with our values and with the amount of time, energy, and focus that we're putting into something. This is so weird. Why do you just have me on the screen? I'm distracted and I'm distracting myself.
Because you're talking. I was giving you spotlight.
I think a lot of times we have people come in when they join the program, and because of some of the limiting beliefs that they have and things like that, they're either they're doing sessions for free, or they're not charging as much as they feel they know that the value of their services is. And so that can breed that resentment, and that can create this idea of oh, if I can only make $50 a session, you're always in time for money exchange, then yeah, you're dreaming about having a course where you can just have money coming in without having to expend that much energy, because you feel like what I have coming in is not commensurate with the amount of effort I'm putting into this. And so like you're saying, it's really about leveraging your income. And part of that has been are people learning that oftentimes you can raise your rates. You can, there's so many different ways to get to that point where you're not resenting. Did I cut out? Did you cut out? I don't know if it's me or Jason.
I may have cut out.
Okay. It may have been me.
No, I think it was me. You're good though.
Okay. There's so many other ways to be able to shift your business so that you're not experiencing that resentment. And what we have found is that when people aren't in that space of resentment, that this dream of passive income disappears, because what people really want is to just feel like they can get paid to do work that they really love. And once they're doing work that they love and they're making what feels in alignment for them and what feels like it reflects the value of that work that they love, they don't feel the need to have money coming from nothing. They don't need it to be passive. They're happy as long as they're getting what they feel is in alignment with the effort, the activity that they're putting into it. So whenever I hear people talking about passive income, usually it's a sign that you're disconnected from your work, or you don't feel like your value is being like the income that you're making from something is matching the value that you're putting into it.
Yeah, and that's why it's really important also to look at the pricing of your stuff, right? So we've shared this, and there's actually a Facebook Live somewhere in the group here. If you search for pricing, you'll probably find the Facebook Live, but it's 3 ways to right price your offer, as I think is what it's called. If you search for 3 ways to right price your offer, and that's another thing, is like making sure your pricing is in a place where you actually feel inspired to show up for your people, and it matches your financial goals. So that's really, really important. And like I said, and like we're talking about here, there is a way to leverage your income. And as a matter of fact, if you feel like at some point or another you'd like to leverage your income, type leveraged in the comments here, just so we know. Like if you're looking to do a course or you're looking to do a group program at some point, it can be really, really helpful to think about that. And that's been transformational for me, because my goal is always to reach as many people as possible. And there's no way over the last 3 years I would have been able to coach 300 people in a one-on-one setting, nor would I have been able to create the kind of container that we have for our people where they're able to support each other. I mean, one of the most amazing things I love, we just had several people who are graduating this week from the CPBI, and Tanya, your typing is super loud, by the way.
I'm not typing anything.
We're hearing some kind of like, I'm not touching anything.
I'm not touching anything.
Must be one of our connections then or something. But yeah, I'm hearing like some weird background noise, which is really strange. Anyways, what was I saying? So yeah, so there's no way I would have been able to do that, and also to create the container for people so that they actually can work with each other. Yeah, Selena saying leverage, Helen saying leverage. Yeah, for sure. And Isa had said, maybe when they invent the JG robot, then you can have passive income. Yeah, that would be dangerous. I would be very afraid of a JG robot. Yeah, and then we also have Jock says the same thing, working on a 21-week one now. Yeah, that's amazing. I love that. But all of that starts with the one-on-one stuff. You got to master your one-on-one stuff. You got to know how you can make a difference for people, and then you can look at working on the next level of that. So just getting back to that, stop focusing on passive income, focus on leverage income. Number 2 myth that we want to dispel is you got to forget about paid ads, especially early on. You got to forget about paid ads. Now, if you have done paid ads before, whether they've been successful or not, or especially if they haven't been successful, if you're willing to share, give us a 2 in the comments. I definitely have had that experience myself. Or if you have been wanting to do paid ads, give us a 3 in the comments, because it's really important to understand here that paid ads are great. There is a place for paid advertisement. And when you are starting out, that is not the time or place for that. Facebook ads or ads of any kind will magnify what is or isn't already working in your business, right? It will magnify what is or isn't working in your business. So many people think that if they have somebody running ads, that they're just going to have leads on autopilot and they're going to have clients all day, every day. And it's just not the way it works. I promise you. I had this belief below as well. And I didn't run any ads for the first, I think it was like 3 years that I had my business, maybe even longer, 3.5 years. I didn't run a single ad. And then once I started running ads, I realized, oh, there's a whole other part of this that I'm missing, that I needed to be aware of. And we'll talk about that in a second. But the allure of I throw money at things, at paid ads, and then I get more leads coming in, it's just not the way it works. It is something that a lot of people will try to sell. Helen said, tried Facebook ads before I knew better. And I totally get that. It can be very enticing, very sexy to do something like that. But the truth of the matter is, if you don't already have your some other things in place first, which we'll talk about in a second, then paid ads are going to be a waste of time, a waste of money. It's going to be exhausting for you. And you're just going to feel disheartened. You're just going to feel just really like you're wasting your time and energy on something. So we don't want you to do anything with paid ads. Tanya, what do you think about the paid ads thing here?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Cause I muted myself. Were you hearing the clicking that whole time?
Nope.
Okay, I muted myself. My phone was clicking like a maniac. So I don't know if it's from your end or what, but it was like really intense. Anywho.
Yeah, we're also trying out this brand new platform. So we're figuring out how it works.
But anywho, I'm muting myself when you're talking. So hopefully it makes it better. So yes, paid ads. I mean, for me, it's funny because I've had, I think, a different experience than you. Well, I've had the experience of like my relationship with ads, and then obviously my relationship with seeing you in like running ads. So personally, for me, I always felt like I had to have ads starting out. And I remember like looking into it and just getting so overwhelmed by not knowing like, who do I target? Like, how much money should I be putting into this? What's the best conversion rate? Like it's just so complex. And I felt overwhelmed. And so I was just kind of like, I don't know how to do this. And so if you're like me and you're the kind of person that gets frozen, if you're a freeze person in response to like threat, I just froze and didn't do anything. And then when I started working with Jason, realizing that I didn't have to do ads, that it was totally possible to grow a successful business and to get clients and to get in conversations with people without ads, was like the biggest like breath, like sigh of relief, because I felt so overwhelmed by like trying to figure out the whole ads world. And then in working with Jason, you know, there have been times where he has, and like seeing you working with different companies that like promise to, you know, to get you a ton of like engagement or a ton of followers or a ton of like leads with ads, and how much work you put into it. And like, you're such a great writer. And even when you're following all the rules, even when you're doing what everybody says you should be doing, still not seeing necessarily the results that we expect in certain times. And like, we're not the kind of people that we're trying to like sell something off of an ad. Like, we're just like, so like, we're not even trying to do something huge here, but like seeing how little result you have had at times has been so frustrating for me, because I really go into this place where I'm like, man, like if someone like Jason if it's not easy for Jason, like it's hella definitely not maybe easy for me, and I don't know nearly as much as you do. And it's just so interesting seeing these people who like work in Facebook ads and it's their business model, and they still don't know what to do sometimes. Like they don't have the answers, and part of that is because the Facebook algorithm is still a mystery to so many people. So like you say, like it can be great when you want to like scale, but I think the biggest thing that I've learned, and the biggest thing that I want our people to know and what I see people feeling relief in when they come into the program, is realizing that they don't have to.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
It's a nice to have sometimes, but like you don't have to.
Yeah, and like I said, Facebook ads have an absolute place. And we've actually had, just to clarify here, we've had some people we've worked with that didn't get us the results they promised, but we've had really good experience with ads in certain places. It depends. Again, there's so much complexity to ads that we can't say ads are good or bad for anybody, except for brand new people, because the complexities of that for a brand new person, it's very difficult to navigate that. For us, because we were so clear on a lot of things, there were certain parts of our ads that worked really well, and then certain parts that didn't. And then you get to this point also where, because Facebook owns all this stuff, they're just shutting down ad accounts left and right. So when Tanya was saying before, you know, we did everything that you're supposed to do, I think what she's alluding to is that Facebook has their own guidelines of what you can and can't say. And I've always been so careful about making sure that, number one, just because we want to be in integrity, we never do any false promises. We never do anything that's like blowing smoke up people's asses. And we also don't do anything that's like lack or scarcity based. And yet my ad account still got completely shut down. Like just a month or so ago, my ad account got completely shut down, which we can start up a new ad account, but we lose all the data. So we basically now have 3 years, 3 years now of running ads, data of running ads that's gone. We can never get it back. It's all the money, all the time spent is completely gone. And so I don't want that to happen to you guys, because it doesn't make sense for you if you're just starting out. So what should you do instead? Well, the goal instead is to get clear on your messaging first. If you're ever going to run ads successfully, us being able to run ads successfully, and again, success depends on what metric you're looking at, but for lead generation, which is what we were initially looking at here, the way that we got really good on lead generation, where we were getting really good lead costs and we were getting a ton of people joining our list and joining our group and everything else, was we were super hyper clear and super hyper focused on what it is that we were actually messaging, like what it is we were offering. You want to get really, really clear on the problem and the promise of whatever it is that you do in your coaching. You want to make sure you have a clear signature system in how you actually coach people. This is one of the things we teach in the CPBI, and now in the VIP version of the CPBI self-study, is how to create what we call your 3x3x3, your own signature system. Like being so clear on that, having that substance, and having people really understand what you do is one big part. But the second part is that unless you have some way to nurture people after you have them come in as leads, it's a waste of time and energy and money. So if you go spend a bunch of money on ads and you have a bunch of leads coming in, but you don't have any way to nurture them, then it was completely wasted money, completely wasted time. So the goal here is to say, listen, why don't you understand and figure out how to nurture people in your world first, right? Organically nurture people in your world first. And then once you really get a clear sense that what you're saying is landing with people, they're getting results from it, they're understanding it, you see that it's relevant, you understand how to create content that's relevant. And again, a big part of what we teach in the CPBI. But once you understand how to create content that has what we call the 3 R's, that it's relevant, that it has an energetic resonance with people, and that it's positioned in a way to help build relationships with people. So relevance, resonance, and relationships. Once you're able to do that and you know how to nurture people, then you put ads on top of that to accelerate that, to magnify that, especially if you're going to be doing things like a group program or a course. So instead of going to paid ads first, you have to get really, really clear on your messaging first. Let me just check in and see what you guys are saying really quick here. Jock says, Jock says, friggin' hell, have you been on LinkedIn recently? I get those promises daily. Yeah, about ad stuff. I totally get that. Helen says, I kind of enjoyed trying ads, but they didn't produce results for me too early in my biz, I think. Yeah, that's great. And that's great to notice. And you have to be clear on even what those results are. What are your metrics, right? You're spending money. What are you spending money for? And so it's just, there's so much intricacy to it that more than anything, it creates distance between you and what you actually want to do, which is be of service to people in the world. You don't have to focus on ads to be of service. Jock says, I always teach, get them away from the platforms and into your world. Yeah, totally agree with that as well. And that's why, our ads account got shut down, whatever it was, 2 months ago or something like that. And then we just launched the CPBI self-study, the VIP version, and we didn't run a single ad, and yet we've had a good number of people join it. And so that's because we have built up our own following of having this Facebook group where we can nurture people, of having an email list that I can communicate with people, of having, instant messenger conversations or direct message conversation with people to get deeper in their world. This is what you want to focus on more than paid ads. You want to focus on organic nurturing. That's a big, big part of this. T, anything else you want to add to that?
No, I mean, I just want to echo that. It like you said at the beginning, like ads will only like magnify whatever's already going on in your business. So like if you're finding that the people in your world that you're connecting to, like face to face or not face to face because we're in COVID times, but like that you're connecting to like the people that are already in your world, if they're not resonating with what you're doing, then look into that, because chances are that you throwing money at it isn't going to solve that problem. Like if your stuff doesn't resonate, you throwing money at it isn't going to fix it. It's like if before you open up a restaurant, you're going to test out a bunch of recipes with your friends. Like chefs will do this. They'll have like their people that they're like, hey, can I test this out on you, bro? Like you perfect the thing that you want to offer before you throw the money at it, because the nicest restaurant, the best marketing isn't going to do anything if when people taste your food, they're like, oh my God, this is disgusting. So this is where like really doing that foundational work of getting clear on your messaging and your 3x3x3 and like how you position yourself, what can you actually help people with is so important.
Yeah, and you know what, we're in a challenging point right now because the industry is so saturated with people who make false promises that it's making people really be on edge, which means you have to double down even more now on the nurturing side, which actually is going to bring us into our third and final point here for today. The third common myth we want to debunk is we don't want you to obsess about followers. Right? We are big proponents. We teach this in the program of building up your home base, of building up the people in your network, the people in your tribe. And there is nowhere, anywhere in any of the content that I have created or that Tanya's created or that we share or that we coach around that says, until you have 10,000 followers on Instagram and the ability to do a swipe up, you're not going to be able to build a successful coaching business. It's bullshit. You do not have to obsess about followers. You can have, when I first launched Playful Prosperity for the first time in 2017, I think maybe I had 150 people on my email list, maybe less, all completely organic. I didn't have, there were initially no paid ads. I didn't even have a Facebook group. Like I just had like my regular Facebook profile, and that was how I did the whole thing. So a lot of people focus on, they think because of the way the influencer mentality is, they have to have hundreds and thousands and tens of thousands of dedicated followers, when actually there's an entirely different way to look at this that's much more effective. Because I know for a fact there are people out there that I know that are in the coaching world that I know how much revenue they make because we're in similar circles, and they literally have 10, 15, or 20 times the following that I have, and yet they make maybe 1.5 or 2x what we make in the business. I mean, think about that. That means I have 35,000 followers on Instagram. I'm talking about people who have 600,000 followers on Instagram. And with that huge increase, they're only making 1.5 to 2x more than me. That's not saying they don't have an amazing business, but what I'm saying is that you don't have to have this huge level of thing to get to this sustainable level of income for your business. So T, what are your thoughts about having a huge following as a prerequisite to building a coaching business?
I mean, the same. It's bullshit, right? And again, it was one of the sighs of relief that I had when I started working with you is realizing that I didn't need that, right? And like you say, like the influencer culture that's so prevalent right now, and a lot of these different platforms, like they make you believe that you need that. Like if you're selling things just based off of ads, where most people don't go from ads to like selling something that's super like high ticket, you obviously need more people if you're selling something for less. If you're like even on YouTube, like you can't start monetizing your YouTube videos until you've had like, you know, 1,000 subscribers and God knows how many, I think it's like, what is it, 40,000 hours or something, 4,000 hours of views. And so like a lot of these types of things like start making you think that like, oh, it's all about the number of people following me. But there are ways to generate revenue without that, right? Like when you think about like people who work in other service-based fields, like a therapist doesn't need to have 10,000 people wanting to work with them, right? They sometimes just have like the roster of 25 and that's it. And so like this is where really anchoring into service and focusing really on building those relationships, and going back to what Jason was talking about in like focusing on like who's already in your world, like building those relationships. When the relationship is there, you need so much less people, so many fewer people. And it's like realizing that for me was just such a godsend, because I'm not, first of all, the idea of having 10,000 followers just made me anxious. I'm just like, now there's 10,000 people that could judge me or whatever. And it's like, I don't need to think about that big. If you're not comfortable being like super in the spotlight, you don't want to be an influencer, you don't have to be, right? Like that's the difference between, again, going away from like the coaching as a passive income thing. Do you want to be a coach or do you want to be an influencer? Because coaching is a completely different thing, and it can totally happen with a much smaller tribe, like you say.
That's a good question. I'd love to know. Post in the comments. Do you want to be a coach or do you want to be an influencer? I mean, seriously, like, but I mean, get clear on that for yourself, because if the answer for you is influencer, then that's a different business and you should be approaching business differently. But if a coaching business is what you want, then what Tanya says is exactly right.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to be an influencer or with wanting to be a thought leader, or like there are many different ways that you can, you know, generate income with an online business. But coaching is a very specific thing, and yeah, like to be a coach, you 100% do not need to have a massive following.
Absolutely, yeah. And yeah. So Issa says coach. So happy that Issa says I am definitely coach here. Love that. Jock had said earlier he signed up his first 5K client with less than 100 followers. So I mean, yeah, that's totally the way it is. And I mean, for me, for my private clients, I probably had even less than that when I first started getting. I didn't get 5K for my first client at all. I think I was charging like $25 a session when I started, and I was happy to get it. So yeah, Helen says coach as well. So awesome. And Helen also said she doesn't like the word tribe. You can use whatever word you want. When you said the question was how many make a tribe. It isn't about the word or even about the number. When we talk about having a tribe, what we have is a group of people that have a shared interest and shared belief system. Right. So shared interest and shared belief system is just kind of a long term. So we can use tribe, you can use community, you can use whatever word you want that works for you. It doesn't really matter. The language, I always say language is super important. This is one place where it's not. It's impact that is important. And so we want to make sure we're focusing on how we can make the biggest impact in the world. And so if we're not going to be focusing on number of followers, if that's not going to be our obsession, then what should we do instead? Well, that's where we want to instead focus on intimacy over quantity. Right? Intimacy with the people in your world, not quantity of the people in your world. And this is something that came up. It's come up a bunch of times on our live coaching calls with our group in the CPBI. And I remember it came up a couple of weeks ago, was somebody talking about needing to, not just wanting to, I need to grow the number of people in my group because there's not enough people in there if I want to be able to get coaching clients. And so the question is like, well, how many people are in the group? And I think at that point, this person was hovering right around like 100 people in their group. They fairly new opening the group. And because of the things that they implemented from the CPBI, they went from 0 to 100 pretty quickly. And so my question became, cool, how many of the people in the group have you actually had a deeper connection with? And the answer was, well, not many at all. I said, cool. So adding more and more people to the group, that doesn't actually increase the likelihood you'll coach anybody. Having a deeper connection with the people that are already there, that's what increases the likelihood that you'll be able to coach people. So this is why, there's an article, there's an essay that was written by a guy called Kevin Kelly, and it's called 1,000 True Fans. You can Google it. You can find it online. Tim Ferriss put an updated version of it in one of his books. But the 1,000 True Fans essay is something that was written about artists, music artists primarily, saying that if you have 1,000 true fans, like people that are diehard 1,000 true fans, you can make all the money that you'd ever want to make in the world. Now, remember, this is targeted at musicians who would maybe, sell $10 CDs or, make a couple grand or maybe less by doing a live show, whatever it is, and saying if you have 1,000 true fans, you can make all the money you need to make. We're talking about a much more intimate and much higher priced offering in coaching, right? Or even in courses or in group coaching. So you don't even need 1,000 true fans. And don't let the word fans throw you off either. I'm just using that word because that's in the title. What we're talking about though is 1,000 true, or for us, less than 1,000 people that are truly in alignment with what it is you do, what it is you believe, and how you may be able to help them. If you are able to focus on intimacy instead of quantity, you will have all the people that you need to work with. If you have 100 people in a Facebook group right now, and you are consistently providing value, you are super clear on what that value is, you are nurturing them, you are focusing on deeper levels of connection, you are creating things that help, that really truly serve them, right? Serve them at a macro level. You will have all the people you need to be potential one-on-one clients for you. T?
Preach? What do you want me to add to? Preach? Yeah,
Preach works. Preach works. Let me just hear. Lawrence also said coach from before we were asking for that. Thank you, Lawrence. Jock says, yeah, but I did your course. Oh, that's true. Yeah, he did do my course. I'm so happy to have you in that course. Jock says, this is gold. Rock on, guys. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I
just want to be your hype man and just be like 100.
That's the core of what I and what we now teach in this program is just, it's intimacy over everything. And, we have people, there are a bunch of different ideas for different things that we want to talk about on these live streams. And one of them we're talking about is kind of having messenger conversations with people. And messenger conversations is something I've been doing for probably a couple of years at least, and more purposefully over the last year and a half, probably a year and a half. And the amount of people that have signed up to work with me privately or join one of our programs, or now joining the CPBI VIP version, the self-study version, the number of people who have basically told me they just feel this deep level of intimacy and connection with me, and that's one of the main reasons they join. That didn't come from ads, right? You cannot automate intimacy. There is a way to bridge automation and intimacy together, and that's where nurturing comes in, and that's a whole different subject, not for today. But intimacy is key. If you are sitting there thinking, I need more people in my world, now, of course, like we said earlier, build your home base. We want you to, be consistently building your home base, and we're advocates of that for sure, but not at the expense of diverting your attention from the people who are already in your world. So there are people in your world here, and I had a client one time. I love this story. I had a client who was really stressing out about getting clients for his business. And he's sitting in his home office, and he does like life coaching for entrepreneurs, so kind of business owners. And he's sitting there in his office, and he's just like, head in his hands. He's like, fuck, I don't know what to do. Like, I can't figure out, who to reach out to. I don't know who to talk to. I don't have anybody in my world, yada, yada, yada. His wife walks into the home office and says, honey, my brother's on the phone. He's having a lot of problem with his employees right now in the business. Would you mind talking to him? I can't right now. I'm trying to find who I can help with my coaching, and I don't know where to find them. So I can't do it right now. And he goes back to, and he gets it, like, oh shit, there's a person right there in front of me who I'm running away from, who's raising their hand and saying they need help. So the more we can slow down, and people are posting this in here right now, Lawrence is saying intimacy is key. Absolutely. Issa says, I was one of them that had the messenger conversations, right? So that this is not bullshit. I'm not here teaching you one thing, and Tanya's not here teaching you one thing, and then we're doing something different on the back end. We do everything that we teach, and that's why it's so important for us to share this message.
Totally. And to what you're saying, that whole idea of grow your following, but grow your home base, but not at the expense of who's already in your world. And one of the other things that I'm sure we'll do a live on this as well, another one, because it's just one of the things that I love geeking out about. And reminding people, it's also where you're connecting with people, right? It's so easy when you're focusing on quantity. You're often focusing on what are the things that are going to get a ton of people into my world. I have to host a workshop. I have to get a speaking engagement. Oh my God, I have to book a podcast or something. You're thinking about how can I get the most people to follow me? But there have been so many times where the clients that I've gotten have come out of the most simple, unexpected one-to-one connections with people. And I shared this obviously in the CPBI group, as you know. Where it's just been I'm in a neighborhood Facebook group for the community that I live in, and somebody posted about needing a dog sitter, and I was like, oh, last minute they needed a dog sitter the day before Christmas because a family member had died in the middle of a COVID year and they had to travel, and I was like, I feel so bad. I happened to know somebody that probably could have helped out. I connected them. And then because we were in Messenger organizing, like connecting this person with my friend and helping them sort out that whole thing out, I just got curious about their world and like, oh, like I'm so like how I hope your year has been okay with COVID. And they're like, oh, it's been difficult because of this and what's going on. And I just got into this conversation that eventually led to them asking like, how has it been for you? And I was like, fortunately, I already worked online. It wasn't that big of a difference. They asked, oh, what do you do online? Oh, I'm a life coach. Oh my God, what kind of work do you like? It's like I'm literally helping somebody get a dog walker or a dog sitter, and it turned into like a client. So this is where like if you really just focus on the intimate and on like on creating that intimacy instead of the quantity, you'll find that clients are everywhere because clients are just other people. So it's just about, like you say, focus on that connection, and just get curious. Like it really makes all the difference. And I didn't need 10,000 potential dog walking people.
Right. That's exactly right. So cool. So to wrap up, we're trying to keep these around 30 minutes. We failed miserably today, but we'll try our best. We want to make sure they're consumable for all of you, but also that you get a lot of value out of them. So just to recap really quickly here, number one, we want you to stop focusing on passive income and instead focus on leveraged income. Number two, we want you to, at least in the beginning, forget about any kind of paid advertisements and instead really focus on getting clear on your messaging first. And then we also want to make sure you're not obsessing about follower count or number of people that are following you, and instead really focus on intimacy over quantity. If this has been valuable for you, we'd love to know what's been the most valuable. What's your biggest takeaway here? Let us know in the comments because we're going to come back and check it out. And also let us know, there's so many things that we want to talk about that we've already brainstormed about, whether it's messenger conversations and creating intimacy online, how to show up more authentically as yourself, content creation, sales, all the things that we teach in the program. We want to be able to bring more of that stuff to you guys to be helpful. So post in the comments here if there are particular things you'd love for us to cover so we can keep that in mind as we're kind of figuring this out. And let us know if you want us to keep doing this. Was this valuable? Would you like to see me and T coming on here and riffing and ranting? And maybe that's what we'll call it, the Riff and Rant.
Oh, yeah, I thought it was me and T.
Oh, I thought the Riff and the Rant would be good. A little R&R, a little Riff and Rant. So if you like the Riff and the Rant show with T and JG, let us know so we can do more of that. And listen, if you are somebody who has been thinking about joining us in the CPBI, we do have some founding member spots still available where you get that big ass discount on joining the VIP version of the program, where you get the monthly live group coaching call with me. You get the Facebook group with my team in there answering questions. You get access to all the exact same content from the 10K version of the program. Plus, you get the call vault, one of the coolest things Tanya ever built for this entire business, where you can go back through and literally search by any topic you can think of and have an entire vault, an entire year and a half of coaching conversations that I've had with clients in the program where you can see me coaching them live on that exact thing. So you can basically get coached by me 24/7, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or 24 days a month, and you can take off 6 or 7. But if you would like that, go ahead and type VIP in the comments or message me and we'll get you that code so you can join us. The people that are in there already are absolutely loving it. I got a message the other day from somebody who messaged me and said they just finished just the pillar on enrollment conversations, and she never realized how loving and how easy and how stress-free it can be. And she said she already knows it's the best investment she's ever made for her business. So big shout out to you. If you're watching this, you know who you are. I don't want to throw your name out there, but love you guys a ton. JJ says VIP is excellent. Thank you so much, JJ. Issa says join the CPBI. Don't hesitate. I'm going to bring her comment up on the screen here. Let's see. Yeah, she says join the CPBI. Don't hesitate. It is so worth it. And it looks like from you guys, Toper says getting clear on your message, intimacy, leveraging your income. Love being reminded. Great talk, Jason and Tanya. We love you, Toper. We miss you. Yes, and Issa says that she loves this. Keep doing them. They're awesome. We will keep doing them for sure. Helen says VIP. Awesome, Helen. Wonderful. Would love to have you in the VIP with us as well. Yvonne says so awesome. Yvonne, so great to see you as well. All right, guys, we're going to head out of here because we got to get ready for our co-working call that we have coming up in 45 minutes. But love you guys a ton. Thank you for being here. We hope to see you on the next one. And T, any parting words?
No, you're so good at wrapping things up. I just feel like I just need to be like what he said. But no, yeah, I'm excited. I love doing these. I'm so excited that we got to do this together and that we got to just like share. I like the Riff and the Rant. I was about to say the Riff and the Raff. The Riff
that works
and the
too.
Rant. So yeah, curious to see what you guys want to hear us riffing and ranting about, and would love to play with any of you. So let us know if you want to jam out because this is what we love doing. I just got off a call with Issa. We were doing a little testimonial call, and like I was telling her there's nothing more that I love doing than like hanging out with you guys and like deconstructing all these myths and getting you guys into the place where you're like, you're not bogged down by all the bullshit that you feel like you have to do, and you get to like really focus on all of the exciting stuff that lights you up that you actually want to do. Like that's what we're here for. So
amen to that. Mic drop moment. All right. Love you guys. This is episode 1 of the Riff and the Rant with T and JG. We will see you guys next time. Peace.
Bye.